My name is Gilles Salles from Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York. Just, a few introductory slides regarding the state of approval and the state of recommendations of BTK inhibitor in CLL. So on this first slide, you see the regulatory status of BTK inhibitors for first line for the management of patients with treatment-naive CLL, first-line CLL. And you have on the left side the status in the United States, and on the right side the status in Europe. And you can see that there are some correspondence and some differences. Going to the different drugs, we have drugs that are already approved in the first-line setting, ibrutinib, acalabrutinib, and zanubrutinib, and two drugs that are on clinical trial phase 3 in development, even if one of them has been approved in the relapse setting. This is on the bottom of the slide, same status in the US and EU. It's pirtobrutinib, which is approved as monotherapy in the relapse setting, and which is being evaluated in both continents, and emtabrutinib, which is also being evaluated. If we go back on the top, the ibrutinib is approved for monotherapy, combination with rituximab, with obinutuzumab, or with BR in the United States, while in Europe, interestingly, it's approved for monotherapy, ibrutinib rituximab, ibrutinib obinutuzumab, but also ibrutinib venetoclax. The approval of acalabrutinib is not different, single agent or combination with obinutuzumab, and zanubrutinib is only approved as a single agent. Next slide. Based on this approval and on this status of the art, I will say, and the opinion of physicians involved in the management with consensus criteria, you can see here that patients are segregated a little bit differently in North America. This is the National Comprehensive Cancer Network recommendation, NCCN network, and on the right, this is the ESMO. So you see that in the United States, the main differences is looking at patients with or without TP53 mutation or deletion 17p, where in this patient, the recommendations are essentially different BTK inhibitors alone or in combination, but still chemoimmunotherapy is still as an option, although I don't think it's mostly used. And if there is a TP53 mutation, clinical trials or BTK inhibitors, or the combination of venetoclax or obinutuzumab, which is approved in both. If we go to the ESMO guidelines, the patients are stratified with either by the mutation status of the immunoglobulin heavy chain, but also on the presence or absence of TP53 alterations. And you can see then a second separation, which is fit or younger patients or unfit and older patients, with some recommendations that are, really restricted to these patients, such as FCR remaining an option with fit and younger patient with IGHV mutated and no deletion, while there is no major difference in the other recommendations. If you go to IGHV unmutated and without TP53 aberrations, again, some similarities and some difference between younger and older patients, which are basically based also on the question of continuous versus discontinuous therapy, restricted time therapy, and the status of the patient. And finally, for those patients with TP53 mutation, BTK inhibitors, potentially venetoclax alone, but mostly venetoclax plus ibrutinib or plus obin, and eventually idelalisib plus rituximab are part of the recommendation. I hope this stays the ground. Probably you should remember that, or depending on where you work. Happy to transition and give the floor, if I should say, to Dr. Gilles.